Regular viewers and listeners will remember that this time last week I was noting that President Donald Trump had indicated publicly that he didn't seem to mind much when people called him a fascist. It came during his face-to-face meeting with the mayor-elect of New York City, Democratic Socialist Zoran Mamdani. Mr. Mamdani had previously called Donald Trump a despot and a fascist. So let's rewind to the moment when a reporter in the room wondered if the mayor-elect stood by his description of the president.
Are you affirming that you think President Trump is a fascist?
I've spoken about...
That's okay, you can just say yes.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's easier.
Yes.
It's easier than explaining it. I don't mind.
So he has no particular issue with the fascist descriptive, which just a matter of days later turns out to be very helpful, because this was the week when the President of the United States appeared fully to embrace the F word.
And now I'm understanding, and you're going to look at, I hear they ripped off Somalians, ripped off that state for billions of dollars, billions, every year, billions of dollars, and they contribute nothing.
That is Donald Trump speaking during a made-for-TV cabinet meeting on Monday. The New York Times described his comments about more than 60,000 Somalis living in Minnesota as raw nativism. That's certainly one way to describe them, or we could all just stop pussyfooting around and acknowledge that the president was indeed sounding the clarion call of racist fascism.
I don't want them in our country, I'll be honest with you. Okay? Somebody would say, oh, that's not politically correct. I don't care. I don't want them in our country. Their country's no good for a reason. Their country stinks, and we don't want them in our country. I could say that about other countries, too. I can say it about other countries, too. We're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage into our country.
That's just the beginning. Next, he turned his attention to Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, a left-wing Democrat from Minnesota who happens to have been born in Somalia. Her family was admitted to America as refugees when she was 13, and he's got a real thing about her.
Ilhan Omar is garbage. She's garbage. Her friends are garbage. These aren't people that work. These aren't people that say, let's go, come on, let's make this place great. These are people that do nothing but complain. They complain. And from where they came from, they got nothing. You know, they came from paradise, and they said, this isn't paradise. But when they come from hell, and they complain, and do nothing but bitch, we don't want them in our country. Let them go back to where they came from and fix it. Thank you very much, everybody.
The reliable applause there of the president's entirely compliant cabinet, similar to Germany's in 1939, roaring their approval for the bigotry of a despot they shower with praise. Listen to what Kristi Noem, the Secretary of Homeland Security overseeing the president's mass deportation program, had to say earlier in that cabinet meeting as she reviewed the year that is about to wrap up.
2 million people have gone home already. The people that were here illegally, you've removed from our country and sent home. And we're going to send more home for the holidays, too, and make sure that they get to be with their families in their countries. Yes.
Mostly the bad ones.
That's right.
Focus is the bad ones.
That's right.
And there are a lot of them.
Terrible, horrible people.
Within hours, she announced that she was deploying at least 100 more agents from ICE, the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Division of the US government, to Minnesota. They will specifically start rooting out members of the Somali community there. Ms. Noem claimed, without providing a scintilla of evidence, that half of all visa holders in the state had secured their travel documents fraudulently. Jacob Fry is the Democrat mayor of Minneapolis.
To our Somali community, we love you and we stand with you. That commitment is rock solid. Minneapolis is proud to be home to the largest Somali community in the entire country. They've been here for decades in many instances. They're entrepreneurs and fathers. They benefit both the culture and the economic resilience of our city. Targeting Somali people means that due process will be violated. Mistakes will be made. And let's be clear, it means that American citizens will be detained for no other reason than the fact that they look like they are Somali.
And on that last point, he is absolutely right. In Key Largo, in Florida, on Wednesday morning, a woman shouted, "I'm a US citizen, please help me, this is not fair," as a photographer from the Miami Herald filmed the scene. Dressed in medical scrubs, she appeared to be driving either to or from work until ICE agents surrounded her car and ordered her to identify herself. When she failed to wind down her window sufficiently to satisfy the masked men, they hauled her out of her car, handcuffed her, and bundled her into an unmarked vehicle. They later released her after confirming that she was indeed an American citizen. The Department of Homeland Security said she had been stopped because her boyfriend is an illegal alien, but he wasn't with her at the time, and they offered no proof to support that contention.
Refugee admissions into the country right now are essentially at zero.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt announcing this week that after a 29-year-old Afghan allegedly shot 2 members of the National Guard in Washington last month, killing one of them, the United States, a country built by immigrants welcomed here by the Statue of Liberty, is completely closing down.
The hard truth is that even when it comes to our legal immigration system, past presidents have failed to ensure that all prospective citizens love America, will add value and contribute to our communities, and will assimilate into our culture. Leaders have a duty to defend and advance the interests of their own people, not foreign nationals. Leaders also have a duty to preserve the integrity and character of our nation's national identity.
National identity, whatever that is. There were other things of note here this week. The Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, is facing allegations that he may have ordered war crimes to be committed against alleged Venezuelan drug traffickers in the Caribbean. The State Department's U.S. Institute of Peace has now been named after Donald Trump, just in time for yesterday's signing of a U.S.-brokered peace deal between Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo. And, of course, singer Sabrina Carpenter fumed after the White House used her music without her consent to accompany a Trump propaganda video. But as many of you will already have heard, the week also saw the death at the age of 87 of the legendary former LBC presenter Brian Hayes. And much has already been said about Brian's vital contribution to radio, but what has gone largely unnoticed is the role that events in America played in his morning phone-in programs on LBC in the 1970s and 80s.
We've met many of the casualties of Nixon's White House, and another came my way last week, ex-Vice President Spiro Agnew, who left because of a spot of bother with the taxman.
Brian's April 1977 interview with Spiro Agnew saw Nixon's disgraced, tax-fiddling ex-vice president try to blind LBC listeners with a bit of Latin.
I want to make clear that I was fined and put on 3 years unsupervised probation because I decided to plead nolo contundere, which means no contest, not guilty, to a single tax charge. But what I'm saying to you is I'm innocent of those charges.
But there's no escaping, is there, the fact that you were fined? And so that obviously leaves quite a cloud.
No escaping either Brian's refusal to be messed around by an American rogue. Other US guests on his program included Nixon's hatchet man, Chuck Colson, fresh from serving a prison sentence over Watergate, the American economist Milton Friedman, who didn't fancy Britain's entry to the common market but wasn't quite ready to say we should be pulling out, the writer Gore Vidal, the novelist and author Joseph Heller, and on October the 29th, 1979, one of the greatest literary icons of America's civil rights era.
Today, my guest James Baldwin, his new novel, Just Above My Head, is published by Michael Joseph, and it's about 4 years, I think I'm correct in saying, since If Beale Street Could Talk was published.
It's very nearly 5 years.
In the 1950s, 60s and 70s, Baldwin's novels, his journalism and his public appearances established him as one of the most powerful black voices advocating for racial equality in America. Go Tell It on the Mountain, published in 1953, and then Notes of a Native Son, published 2 years later, were just the beginning of an astonishing career that led him to Brian's studio. At the end of an American week that has surfaced such racist ugliness in the heart of the White House, Baldwin, speaking on this radio station 46 years ago, knew that this outcome, America's lurch to the intolerant, even fascistic far right, was entirely possible.
We have a resurgence of the Ku Klux Klan, which was silent for a very long time, and we have a Nazi party. You know, it's impossible to know how important this party is, but this is also one of the reactions to the last 20 years. You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And it is very difficult to know which way the American society will go. It depends very much, in a sense, on who is elected now to represent it. Any Western society at this moment is almost unreadable because of the pressures through which the West is going. You know, it's a kind of crisis in the West.
As fresh today as it was in 1979, Brian for a time enjoyed posting on Twitter until his eyesight failed him. In his final message on the platform in 2019, he asked rhetorically, will we know when Trump tells the truth about, anything?